What's up everybody, welcome to Tech Savvy Buyer. So this is Project Xenomorph, and as you can see the name is actually really appropriate since it looks just like a xenomorph, which is an alien. But anyways, I'm going to walk you guys through exactly what is inside this build, what I did to customize it the way I did. But before I do, I want to give a huge shout out to IVC VPN for sponsoring this video. If you guys don't have a VPN service, you need to check out IVC VPN. They are offering 90% off still currently as part of their Black Friday sale, and it's going through until New Year's. I believe it still is. Click on the link below, you'll get taken through my link, and that'll give you access to the discount price. It's about less than $1 a month, so for 5 years, less than $1 a month. It's about 60 bucks, guys. Honestly, it's worth it. It's the VPN service I use myself, and I'm not just saying that because I am an affiliate, so disclaimer up there, I am an affiliate with them, but it's actually what I use myself. So I've tried a whole bunch of different VPN services, and I have frankly and honestly do believe that IVC VPN gives you the fastest speeds, most security, and gives you a ton of different connection opportunities depending on where you are. Now, let's talk about Project Xenomorph. So this, guys, has been a love and hate relationship, to be completely honest, because it's beautiful, and this is what I love about it. The build came out exactly how I imagined, but it did not come without its fair share of pain, sweat, and almost blood. In some cases, I did actually cut myself trying to build this, so there's that. It was a ton of work. But anyways, I'm gonna talk about what the specs are inside this and why I chose to go with these specs. So clearly, I'm a YouTuber, and this is gonna be my primary rig. So it's gonna be for my gaming, but mostly for editing because I don't really get time to play as many games as I would like to. So with that being said, the CPU inside this is a Ryzen 9 3950X. I decided to go with the one that gives me the most cores, most bang for buck compared to Intel's build. So mostly it is purely an AMD build, with the exception of the graphics card. There is about 64 gigs of RAM in here. I'm using the Trident Z Royal line, and it's clocked at 36 megahertz out the gate, working perfectly fine as you guys can see here. There is 4 2TB SSHDs by Seagate. It's their FireCuda line. I was actually promoting that during Black Friday, and you can see I'm using it in my own build as well. So these hard drives are perfect for mass storage. It's probably not something I'm using to boot and play games off of, and obviously that's the reason why I'm taking advantage of both the M.2 slots available on this board. Speaking of the board, this is the Asus X570 Hero, Crosshair Hero actually, 8. It's an actually solid board. It's the newest architecture from AMD, Gen 3, and it supports Gen 4 PCI, which gives you those fast speeds in between and gives you those more lanes to use together in conjunction with the fast speeds. So I've got the board over there that's by Asus. The graphic card is still one of my old ones, actually. I'm still using a GTX 1080 Ti. The only thing I changed was I picked up a Glacier water block from Fantex to use for cooling it. So I took off the fan and got rid of all that stuff to actually keep it as part of the custom loop. In terms of the power supply, it's still an 850 G2 by EVGA. That's still enough power for all the stuff that you see here. So those are really the core things in terms of specs that are inside this computer. I've got a good processor, tons of RAM, great motherboard, tons of storage. So speaking of the M.2 storage, there's a Samsung 970 1TB drive in there, and then there's a Sabrent Rocket 1TB Gen 4 SSD in there as well. So in total, there is basically 10 terabytes of storage on this. So clearly this is something I'm going to be using for editing and stuff, even making this video with this build. Now, specs aside, obviously this is completely custom, and you're probably seeing a lot of stuff on this that's not typical to this case, and I'm going to talk about the case as well, why I chose this case, what I did to it, which you probably already saw in the intro of today's video, but I'll also share all the custom stuff that you see here. So all of the fittings are from Bixby, and I bought all the Bixby fittings from AliExpress, believe it or not, because that's how I got it cheapest, even factoring in the shipping coming from China. Now, Bixby does have a US website if you want to choose to buy it from there, but at that price point, you're better off using stuff from EKWB and getting it directly from them because it's the same price. The only reason I went with Bixby in this case was because it saved me a fortune and gave me more budget to spend on the actual core components. Now, in terms of blocks, I did decide to stick with EK, and I have an EK monoblock made specifically for this motherboard. There's a EK D5 pump attached to it as well, and I'll talk about some of the challenges with using a pump with this setup. There are 2 Hardware Labs radiators. One is a 360 GTS and the other is a 240 GTS. That's actually the max that this case can support. Given its configuration and layout, obviously it's really different. It's really out there. And guys, this is a pretty old case. This is a 2017 design case by Cougar. It's the Cougar Conquer. This is by no means a 2019 or 2020 up and coming case design. I just really liked it. I finally got an opportunity to get it, basically. Now for the reservoir, I'm using a custom made reservoir for this case that's made by Bixby. There's two manufacturers that actually make this. You can pick one up from Barrow and you can pick one up from Bixby. I chose to go with Bixby just because some of the other things I got were from Bixby, and I actually negotiated that with the seller on AliExpress to get everything at a very, very large discount. And part of the stuff that you can see that's really custom here is this front side panel. So typically the side panel that comes with the Cougar Conquer is like that bronze orangey type finish. Initially I was trying to make that blue and cover it up, but that's because I didn't have plans to put a distro plate in the back there, and I decided to go with the distro plate, and hence I wanted something that was more clear and transparent. So the same seller actually had this custom side panel available. They had that PSU cover available. They had the GPU holder over there that says Asus ROG on it as well, and also the back plate cover that's on top of the graphics card that you guys probably saw when I gave you the interior tour of this. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Now the challenge that I had using a D5 pump, the D5 pump, if you guys don't know, it puts out more flow rate than a DDC pump. DDC pump will give higher pressure, but a D5 will give more flow and larger flow and lower noise. That's the reason why I decided to stick with it. The one challenge I'm having is, for the life of me, I cannot get the flow meter to actually flow as long as the D5 is in there. When I had the DDC pump originally set up inside this, I was having no issues at all getting the flow meter to spin, and the flow meter was actually on top, so it was actually running pretty smooth. The other thing that's custom in here, you can see our custom sleeve cables. That is actually not done. So this, this project is overall not complete yet. I'm still going to get custom sleeve cables that are coming and through cable mods, believe it or not, and I'm going to be having that route directly through the PSU so I can get rid of the mess that's behind here. So the one thing I really hate about this case is cable management. It is horrible. There's no way I'm going to ever want to build in this case again. And last but not least, in terms of components, there are 5 fans on here. These are Alsci X12 fans. Again, these are also from AliExpress. They were the only ones aside from the Corsair LL120s that are white. They have a frameless design and they give good static pressure for radiator. So it actually turns out to work really well, and they don't produce a lot of noise either. They're like at their lowest speed, which is enough to keep the system cool, they are producing less than 30 dB of noise, which is practically, at this point you can't hear it when it's sitting about a couple of feet away from you and what you're working. So that's the build, and that's how everything came together. Now the case, this case originally comes with, the original side panel. It comes in black. I actually stripped down the entire case, sanded it down, primed it, wet sanded it, gave it coats of solid paint from Rust-Oleum, and then I covered it with some satin polish, I believe. Yes. Gave it a couple of coats, about 5 or 6 coats, because the more stuff you're going to be doing, like using screwdrivers and stuff, it's just areas to get it scuffed up, and I didn't want to scuff it up because the finish is actually pretty nice. So it came out pretty nice, guys, and seriously, it's not that it looks that nice in front of you on the camera, but it actually is a really nice, consistent finish across the board. There are some areas where the paint started to chip while I was putting everything together, and that's normal, especially in the areas where you're going to be screwing stuff in. That's something you can't really prevent, unfortunately, since this isn't getting powder coated or anything like that. But overall, it came well. So that's pretty much Project Xenomorph, guys. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think that this is entirely overkill for what I did. It did cost me roughly $5 grand when everything was said and done. If you're interested in a full breakout of pricing, just reach out to me in the comments or reach out to me in an email, and I'll let you guys know exactly how much everything costs. It's too much to list, especially with a custom loop. And that is pretty much the end of this video. But guys, before we go, I do want to share that I'm going to be starting a tutorial series on how to water cool your PC. So if you've been interested in trying to set up a custom loop, whether it's with, flex pipes or you're using hard tubing, I just want to say that it's really simple. It's not that hard. You just have to be patient, and you just have to have a budget set aside for it, because it's definitely not a cheap thing. And I'm sure you guys probably did some preliminary research on it, or if you went down that hole, you already know that it's not going to be a cheap habit to have. But nonetheless, I'm going to be starting a series on it. I'll walk it through for complete beginners. I did this after 7 years. After 7 years, I decided to go with a custom loop again. The last time I did a custom loop was over 7 years ago. So it's been a long time, and I still was able to get in and get it done without having any major issues, except for the flow meter there, which is purely on me. Again, there's just so much customization abilities that you can use. You can put your color of coolant. Obviously, you guys see a whole bunch of things by Jace2Sense. You see stuff from Bitwit. You see stuff from BitTech. There's just so many YouTubers out there that do custom water loops, and it's really fun. It's addictive. Once you get into it, it's really addictive. But I digress. My point is, it was really fun to do this, and if you guys need help, I'm going to be the person that's going to be helping you guys out with this. But anyways, as always, guys, I appreciate you guys sticking through to the end of this video. Don't forget to check out IVC VPN. If you guys haven't already, make sure you get that VPN service before New Year's and the sale expires. Also, as always, thank you very much for staying through to the end of this video. And guys, if you're new to this channel, if you like this video, please hit that like button. It definitely helps my channel grow, and it gives me more motivation to put content like this and do things for you guys. I'm going to be hosting a giveaway pretty soon to give away some custom water cooling stuff as well. So just stay tuned and kind of follow along with what happens with that. Again, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you're up to date with everything I'm putting out. And that is pretty much the end of this video, guys. I appreciate it again very much for you sticking through to the end of this, and I will see you on my next one. Peace out.